Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the post-race press conference from round number 13 of the 2020 Monster Energy Supercross Championship from Salt Lake City. I'm Daniel Blair, joined by the podium finishers from today's race and also members of the media. Thank you guys for being here. We'll start with the 250 division. Finishing in third, Colt Nichols will be joining us momentarily. Finishing in second, racing for Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, Shane McElrath. And your winner in the 250 division, riding for Geico Honda, Chase Sexton. In the 450 division, finishing in third, riding for Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna Factory Racing, Jason Anderson. Second place finisher, riding for Red Bull KTM, Cooper Webb. And your winner, riding for Monster Energy Kawasaki, Eli Tomac. Congratulations, guys. Shane and Chase, I'll start with you guys. Since we've got to Salt Lake City, it's been Shane versus Chase, Chase versus Shane. You guys have been riding well, seem to be one-upping each other every chance you get, and come into this race with the red plates tied and tough conditions. Chase, you come away with it with that points lead. Shane, second on in the championship as it runs. I want to talk about the couple things that happened in that main event. There was a red flag early that sent you guys back to the gate, and then Shane, of course, lap traffic got you there early in that main event. Just kind of take me through both of those things and how it affected you differently. Shane, I'll start with you.
Honestly, it was a bummer. I was ready to go. I think it showed. I pulled both hole shots and was ready to. I didn't pull the first one, but I got in the lead right away. But the second one, I pulled really good, and it was. I just felt like it was time to go, and it was a bummer to get the red flag. I don't know what really happened to Garrett. He was sitting up over there, and they were waving the yellow flags, and then he just never moved. So it was a bummer to see him have to get hauled off and also to get red flag because we were in the perfect position that we needed to be in, and just refocus. I was a little, I think we were all a little wet after sitting there in the rain for a little bit, but it was pretty different once we started back racing. The rain really made things slippery, but it was another good start, and really just tried to go. And I was doing okay. The track was pretty slippery, but then just crossed past with that lapper and went down, and gloves were slippery. My hands were frozen, and it took me a couple laps to get back going, which was a bummer. But at the end, I felt fine, and really just wish I had some more time. But it was a bummer, everything that happened, but to come away with second on a mud race, it's like I did my best. So we'll be ready for next Wednesday.
Chase.
Yeah. So the first race, I got a really good start. Came into the second corner, and Shane came inside me. I went off the track, and then the the second rhythm section, I got the rhythm clean, and I think Enzo Lopes rolled the last jump, and I landed right on top of him and ended up sliding out. So that was a bummer, but I really felt like my speed was really good all day. I felt like I had an edge on everybody. So I kind of I think I could still get up to at least, I know I could have got the second, but I was kind of keeping tabs on the first couple laps, and I felt like my speed was good enough to maybe get up to him. But it was, it was definitely worked out in my favor to get the red flag, and then got a decent start. I think I was second, and then I was kind of just riding behind Shane because the first moto I made a stupid mistake early, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that again. I got to wait this thing out. And I felt like I was faster in the whoops, and I got close to him a couple times, and then kind of backed off, and then kind of got back close, and then he ended up coming together with a lapper, which gave me the lead. And after that, I kind of put my head down for a few laps, and then ended up running into the same lapper in that corner and broke my my front brake system. So I didn't have a front brake for over half that race, which was kind of a bummer, and it's kind of sketchy with how the track was. So I felt like I rode decent. I felt like I rode really well all day, but yeah, that first race was not good for me, and getting the restart was definitely played in my favor. And on the line, I was like, well, I got to win this race, and there was no second place tonight. I had to go out there and win, and I feel like we did a good job with that.
Well, congrats, guys. It was a good race. Colt, welcome to the press conference. for all the riders who are on this, they started the year, then had the break, and then are coming back to this. But for you, this has been your Supercross season. Just kind of take me through the last week and just how it's gone, how good it feels to be back, and not only be back, but riding at podium speed and getting on the box twice. Just how's the trip been for you, and how important was it for you to get back into Supercross and have success here late?
Yeah, it was honestly really important for me. It was, like I said, I got kind of lucky, by all this stuff happening, and made it to where I would get to race these races here in Utah. And, really just tried to be prepared as I could. I would have loved to have a little bit more time, but I think everyone's kind of in that boat a little bit at times. And I just wanted to do as well as I could. And, I didn't really know where I was going to be. I've been riding with Shane back home, and he'd obviously been going really well, but it's just different when you're in a title hunt. The intensity of the races is different. And I'm kind of coming in here with intentions to try to help, if I can, but I just really want to go out there and do the best I can. And tonight I was just a third place guy. I wasn't really that great, and struggled in a lot of areas, and just needed to overall just be a lot better. But the trip itself has been really good. I'm super happy to be here, and just being able to race, 2 podiums in the last 2 races have been awesome for me. And just want to try to keep it going, finish the last 2 strong, and maybe give myself a little momentum going into outdoors and try to see what we can do there.
Awesome. For the 450 division, Jason, I'll start with you. Since we've been in Utah, you've been riding really well. Your speed's been there. You've been fighting, but just had a hard time with the starts. Today seemed a lot better. The heat race was good. The main event was good. Was that just the key for you, is getting up in that front pace? It seemed to pay off in that main event.
Yeah, I think last weekend I got up in the front pace, and those guys kind of got away from me. And this weekend I was able to get up a little bit further back than I was the last round, but was able to get by Zach. And then next thing you know, I was in no man's land, and those two seemed to have a pretty good battle up front, and kind of got waxed by them. But I think as the races keep going, I feel like I'm progressing and getting better and working on my weak points, which from the first round my starts were horrible, and being able to get up there and be in the battle and see it, it's been nice. So I'm just gonna try and keep getting better and see how it goes.
This one's for Cooper and Eli. First off, guys, that was awesome to watch. It was a weird day with the weather, and it seemed like there was different moments throughout the day that kind of dragged. And I just got to say that 450 main event was incredible. It was awesome to see you guys fight for that. Cooper, I'll start with you. Just take me through it. The back and forth, just, where you had your strengths, where your weaknesses were. And again, just the fight was impressive to watch. From your perspective, how did everything go?
Yeah, overall it was an incredible race. Like you said, we were laying it all out there. I think I was first to the first turn, and then Zach snuck inside of me, and I was behind him for about a lap. And then when I cleared him, it was me and Eli. And I don't know how long I was able to lead, but I know he was all over me, and I was doing that line right in the whoops, and it felt good. But after he passed me, I saw it was definitely not the preferred line. So it was, it was a barn burner. He led, and then I led, and then I think, I ended up leading twice. He led twice. The lappers were insane. For my end, I know I left it all out there. I felt like we were just both wanting to purely win, and he was able to. I thought I uncorked a pretty cool rhythm, and then I just was able to watch the highlights and saw that he did that 3-3-3, and so, man, I just feel like that was a race for the ages for sure. And it's unfortunate to lose by a second, but at the same time, it's cool to be able to go wire to wire like that with red plate holder. And obviously he has 7 wins now, so he's been on it this year. So it's cool to be able to run with him. And we laid it all out there for sure.
To triple down on that, Cooper, that triple the last 2 laps, when you dove in there the inside, it looked like maybe it was a pass attempt and then kind of pulled back, but then just seated it, kind of looped even the first time. Did you know that was available, or was that just an instinctual decision made right then and there?
It was funny. The suspension guy joked about it like before the main event, and I was like, "You're delusional. There's no way." And I just tried it. I got to the point where it was 2 to go, and I just was like, F it. I'm going to go for it, and barely made it, but it seemed to be pretty fast there, and it was mainly because the lapper kind of forced me there a few times, and so that's where I kind of got the idea from. But yeah, it was a good line, but didn't quite hold off. But I was expecting to case it for sure, but I barely made it that first one.
Eli, congratulations again. Great ride. Very entertaining for everybody. Just take us through your race and how it laid out for you.
It was, man, I got to start with saying, like, that was just a freaking sweet race. I mean, it's easy to say for me, right, because I won, but really fun. On the line, I was a little bit nervous about my gate. I was pretty far inside. I was third on the inside there, kind of played the safe card, but got a really good jump, got good traction there. Slid around with those guys on the inside. Coop was in front of me. And man, we just got going. Like, we both, obviously had really good flow today on the track, and it was a cool condition because it wasn't, we were able still able to get those jump combos and really get around the track, but it was at the same time a little bit sketchy enough, a little bit slick enough to where, some guys were kind of floundering around. So really, really fun racing conditions, like I said, went back and forth with each other twice there. Yeah, it was just a really good race.
Well, congrats, guys. We'll open it up to the media. I'd like to start with David Iser. Unmute.
I need some Shane McElrath help there. Coop, you've made your legacy on some last lap, last corner passes. I know lappers affected you and both Eli that entire race, but it seems like Bowers took away that inside. Eli had to go outside on that last corner. Do you think if Bowers wasn't there, that you could have made a play on that last corner?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's hard to say. It was like we ran into so many lappers that there was probably 20 times for me and 20 times for him that we could have blamed a lapper, but it was just the way it was tonight. And, it definitely, I had kind of been going to that second line, and then, it did affect the whoop speed, but, I think at that point, unless I would have just absolutely crushed the whoops, I think he had just a little bit on me to, I don't know if I would have maybe been able to make it happen, but, obviously, like I said, the lappers were crazy all night. So, I mean, it was tough, but yeah, I was hoping for that last lap magic, but it didn't work out tonight.
And that track itself wasn't a true mutter. Can you think of another race where you guys, between you and Eli, that pace you were running, you were basically lapping up to the podium? Can you explain why everybody else could not, lapping up that far?
I don't know. That's what I mean. I didn't know at the time. I just felt like we had, passed a lot of people. And at one point I saw Kenny again, and I was like, not sure what was going on. I just think it was one of those things where from lap one, I wanted to win so bad, and obviously Eli did too. And it was like we just, like he said, we were in the mode and just flowing, and it came down to kind of lines switching and being able to really, I just felt like I pushed as hard as I could. We were switching lines every other lap, just really going for it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't really I didn't think a 100% mud race, because like you said, we were doing all the obstacles and it was tough conditions. I mean, it was you had to be smart, but I think we were just obviously riding smart, but riding that fine edge of easy to make a mistake. So yeah, I don't know what it was. I think we were just both wanting to win.
Thank you.
Steve Giberson.
Or Eli, I'm curious, with the rain stopped right before the 450 main, did the track get better as you guys went through, or did it just keep getting more chewed up?
Overall, I mean, the traction was getting a little bit better, but at the same time, yeah, the main line was getting more chewed up. The one, like turn, I guess it would be turn 2, that rut started getting pretty squirrely, would come out and go double, and then that would start that triple rhythm section. Like that one got pretty bad, where it was kind of like a big hook up the ramp. So you had to be careful there. And then that surprisingly, like we were getting through the whoops, and I think that's where me and Cooper were really just a lot faster tonight, was the whoops. I mean, we were passing lappers and those guys were kind of rolling through there, so I think that's where we're making big time on everyone.
Jason Wygant.
Yeah, thanks. Jason Wygant from Racer X. For both Cooper and Eli, how much are you thinking about these lines as the race goes, and how much is just instinct where you just see an opening and give it a shot? I don't know how much you can plan when you're running at that level of pace. So can you both comment on that?
I think honestly, tonight was one of those races where it was hard to make passes, but if you were the guy behind, you could kind of see where the person was slow and where they weren't. And, lines that were good in the beginning weren't so good in the end. And like he was saying, the main lines got so chewed out that you had to go the other option. And that other option is either tighter or wider. And, it just all depended where you wanted to go. And then, obviously I think with the lappers, it just forced us to take, all kind of different lines. But, it was one of those, it was more instinct and just kind of maybe if you were behind, you could kind of try something and it would work. At least that's what happened for me a few times. That was like, all right. And I was able to, make a little bit of time. But I think when you're in the lead, it's tough to want to try certain things and move around with the lappers and stuff. But I'd say more instinct.
Yeah, I mean, the one line or one rhythm that I felt like was instinct was, that second lane with the double and triple. I kind of knew it was there, but at the same time, you just didn't know how it was going to form up. The way those transitions were getting were kind of nasty and square in the bottom. So, that was the one spot I felt like you could change up or miss.
Eli, are you thinking about that stuff, or are you literally just going for it and hoping it's going to work out? How much thinking and how much is just instinct when you're in a battle like that?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's a fine line of right, going, thinking too much and just having the good flow and doing what you're supposed to do. So, to be honest, I was bad in that rhythm section, the second straightaway at the beginning of the race. I was missing the first triple. We'd go double and then start the triple, and Cooper was getting it right away, and I missed it like 3 or 4 laps, and then I finally got it going. So whether it was instinct or not, that was a line that I had to adapt to for sure.
Stefan Lebig? Nope. Okay. Michael Antonovich?
This one's for Eli. Eli, during the podium after everything was over, I just kept hearing you say over and over how much fun that race was. For you, racer that's been around and done these for so long, how is this one different for you? How is a head-to-head battle against a really close competitor more fun than a blowout win?
It was, right. The win's sweet, right. It's easy to be happy, but we passed each other twice. A lot of times in these mains, like you either getting past once, the guy wins, or vice versa, where you make the pass and you can kind of start running away. But the way we did it, man, I was scrapping to the end. Like the second to last turn, I was dabbing and just freaking pinning it and hanging off the back. And then, I don't know, it was a good race. We raced each other. I don't know. It was just a good race that way. So, as a competitor, it just felt like everything was, I don't know, it was right.
Cool. For Chase, after everything has happened in these last 2 races and how upset you were last Wednesday night, to come in and get a win like this was huge, especially because it was a head-to-head battle with Shane after there was contact with you guys in the first race too, or the first start. How important was it for you to enter this short break with the red plate again?
Yeah, definitely. I was obviously disappointed after last Wednesday. I felt really good that day too, and I just made a small mistake and it cost me big time. And getting back to 4th was okay, but ultimately I want to be battling with Shane for wins. And so I was super bummed, but I kind of went in today like this is a must win, and to get the momentum back on my side, I feel like I kind of was just off a little bit coming to Salt Lake, and I just need to get the momentum back on my side. I think today with those conditions is kind of suits my riding style a little bit, and I like those ruddy, more East Coast type conditions because it wasn't a full mud race. So I knew coming in today that I was going to be in a good spot and qualifying first, winning my heat race, and then obviously getting a break in the main event, and then going out and doing what I was capable of doing all day. So I was pumped on that, and that's why I feel like the emotions were high after the race, and definitely excited to have the red plate back to myself. So.
Chris Cooksey.
So this is for Shane McElrath. I don't think I've ever seen you do what you did to Chase Sexton. You've always been a really clean rider, but you guys have gotten a little spicy. Was that payback for what he did to you a couple days ago in the qualifying where he bumped you off?
Did I make contact with him? Like, I don't know. I didn't feel any contact, so I'm not sure if I even bumped him or not. I was just going for the line. But I didn't know. I thought he was still behind me, and I didn't know that he had went off the track until after the main event, like in that case. So, I mean, I'm not riding to get payback. I'm riding to win. And so, I mean, it's whatever. It was first lap, and it was like, okay, let's get the lead and let's go. So that was my mindset behind it.
And then Eli and Cooper, it was the strangest thing I've seen when the hot lap, Ken Roxon went out, Justin Hill went out, and you guys sat there. What was your reasoning behind that? And were you double thinking it? We're like, should I have went because Roxon went?
Yeah, I don't know why they went out, to be honest. I thought that was pretty dumb. But, yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be wet. The start was important, and you were going to go get your bike muddy and heavy and tire dirty for this start. So I thought it wasn't very smart. But, hey, everyone does things their way.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, right? You want to keep your bike light. It was still heavy enough to where that dirt's going to stick to your bike. And with these grates, too, I was nervous about getting the tire, slick for the start.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Alex Gilbert.
Yeah, this one's for Jason. How's the health been at Elevation? Obviously, today was a good day for you.
Yeah, it honestly hasn't been too much of an issue. I feel like I went home to New Mexico for long enough to kind of take it easy and work my way into, acclimating and stuff like that. And I think here is a little lower than even where I was at home, or even where I even think Denver Supercross is. So I feel good. I think just no matter if we're at sea level or whatever, we're racing so close together. You're kind of more focused on recovery in between the races than trying to ride or gain anything right now. So, yeah, I mean, as far as we have 2 days now until our next race, so I think we're going to try and recover as much as possible and kind of take it easy. But I feel good. I feel good. I just feel like I've been getting a little bit of arm pump, which is kind of weird for me, but I've been able to work through it, and it's not hindering my performance at all. So got no excuses. So let's see how it goes in these next last 4 rounds.
And also for Cooper, it seemed like even though you're in that battle for victory there with Eli, you remained pretty clean out there. You didn't, it was aggressive racing, but clean the whole time. So, yeah, how was that?
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, that's obviously last year I was able to finally be able to battle with Eli, and then this year too. And I mean, we're both aggressive, natured and want to go for it. But I felt like we were, we've always been pretty respectful with everything. And yeah, tonight was same. I mean, it was one of those things where, I want to get after this championship and stuff, but it's still, a ways out. So for me, I just was wanting to race hard and try to win. And, that was my main goal. But, it's cool for us to be able to battle like that. And especially with him with, obviously the red plate and stuff like that, you don't want to just clean someone out like like I saw, I think it was Bam Bam and him maybe in the heat race or whatever. So no, it was good racing.
Mitch Kendra.
Mitch Kendra, Racer X. My question's for Eli. Kind of going off of the last question there. You and Cooper seem to race pretty clean. Is there a point late in the race when you're like, hey, I need to back it down a little bit just in case, worst case scenario, something happens and then, that screws up the championship? Is there a point where you need to back it down, or you just, I'm going to beat this guy because he's trying to beat me and it's just, I'm a championship athlete. I just got to go for it.
I was just in the zone to where I'm like, at this point, there's no slowing down. I didn't feel like I was over the edge, right? And we were both just racing each other aggressive. I mean, we're both going to race each other enough and long enough. It's hard to start that game, So that's that. Like, we're both racing each other hard, aggressive. But, going back to the race, I mean, I wasn't in the position where I'm like, oh, I'm getting squirrely, I'm getting sketchy here, I need to back it down. I felt, in control that whole main that way.
Dan Lamb.
Yeah, Cooper, before the COVID-19 break and early in the year, you kind of struggled with the whoops. We haven't seen that problem at all. Last week, of course, or 3 days ago, they were obviously jumpers, but today they were just straight up big skimmers, and you were skimming them the whole time. What have you found, or what have you done to adjust?
I think, like you said, after these first few, I mean, that's where I was getting my ass kicked. So we were able to really work with the team and kind of get what I felt like I needed to get through the whoops. But also, I feel like one of my really good qualities is my turning. So, I didn't want to take away from that too much either. So I got to get up to the team. They tried some stuff that has been kind of untraditional of them. So that's been cool to I feel like, obviously I still got to be better in them. And, but, tonight I felt like I was competitive. And like Eli said, the track was a lot about whoops. And, I felt like it was maybe more my line at the beginning that held me back and being slow in them. And once I kind of caught up on that main line was actually pretty good. I felt like I didn't hinder my whoop speed at all today. So I was pretty happy with that.
Staying with you, Coop, how mind blown were you, both of you guys, actually on how many people you were lapping? I mean, you lapped Kenny twice. It was just one of those days where you guys were just blowing by everyone. Like, as you see Kenny come up again, are you guys like, what the heck's going on here?
All I know is it just felt like we were passing multiple guys every lap. I mean, I didn't really think about that too much at the time. I mean, afterwards, when I was kind of gaining my thoughts, it's like, oh, wow, we lapped a lot of people. And I knew Zach was up there on the start and we lapped him late. So I was like, I know he's pretty far up. And so anyway, yeah, it just seemed like, man, we had a bunch of guys and, but it was definitely a crazy feeling. I mean, normally, we maybe get to like 12th or something like that. So it's pretty cool to push that hard and get that far forward.
Yeah, man, thanks. Good ride, man. And thanks for the race, you and Eli, both of you. That was amazing.
David Iser.
Eli, explain this to fans, and because we all talk about this, we all bench race about this. You've won championships, you've lost championships. Even Chase Sexton went in there with 10 points and that's evaporated. When you go in with a plan, you saw Roxon's night. You could not have predicted that. Do you have a plan when things go according to what's going? You think is going to happen with your competitors, and if not, and in the same vein, if you ride differently to protect a win or protect position, is that what?
It's so hard to say. I mean, because like you said, I've had it both ways. I've had it to where I've, basically have blown it, and I've had championships where I've been able to, sail her on in with no problem. So today, I mean, it's the rain is always the big, question or equalizer there. The good thing is these guys could have taken a huge chunk of points out of me, but today it went the other way. So that's just the way it goes. And these days you never know what's going to happen. You just try to be the best you can, and that's it.
But in your experience riding over your years, is when you lay back, is that when bad things happen? Like when you try to be protective, it's almost like you're outside of the nature of who you are as a racer.
Yeah, for sure. And then your first time through it is by far the worst, right? Like experience is so big that way, you know, just mentally and being mentally sound. I know, like, and that just happens as you develop as a human, right? I mean, when you're 19 years old, you're thinking a lot different thoughts than when you're 25, and that changes.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Jason Wygant.
This question is for Jason. You and Zach have had some good battles, and somehow it's like 1 week he gets the better of you, and 1 week you get the better of him. I know you guys always have some good banter in the truck. So what's that been like battling your teammate and kind of 50-50 on the results lately?
It's good. You know, the first round we battled. Second round, he got the whole shot, so he was out front and ended up third. So I feel like we did two positions in that today. I think he maybe needed a little bit of more leg, like I got to the woods to help him out. But the banter's good. Me and him, I keep it really light and nothing too crazy. So yeah, it's been good. Good vibes here, and honestly, between me, Zach, and Dean, I feel like we're stepping our game up quite a bit. You know, as far as even qualifying and everything. So like, I come off the track and I always feel like I have a good qualifying. And next thing you know, Dean knocks me off like the last lap or something like that. So we're doing good over here, and we're all just trying to get better. So it's been good.
Steve Giverson.
Oh, catch me by surprise. The first couple rounds were really on the dry side. Did we finally get enough water into the track today? I'll give that one to Shane.
Yeah, it was pretty weird, and knowing how hard and slick it's been, it was really interesting coming in, because you're kind of like, okay, well, it's going to be muddy, but the dirt also packs in really hard. So once we got to see the track on like a track viewing, like the lanes and everything was like dry. It was like, okay, well, there's definitely puddles between the transitions, but the lane, like the jumps and everything, looked like it was going to be dusty. And we seen that in the first, or in our one and only qualifying session, especially before the triple. But it yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think it was the rain that was the worst part. I think it was more of being cold. I mean, once I was out there, especially once we got restarted, we were all getting rained on, then sitting on the line, and it rained harder, and so we were all pretty wet. And then once I fell and picked back up, my gloves were wet and muddy, and so probably from halfway on, like my hands were just like really cold and like burning. So it was weird to have to deal with that. Like I missed out on Denver last year when it was really cold. So it was tough all around, not just track wise. It was conditions and weather and everything above.
It's a little different with the separation between you and mechanics too, trying to get things as simple as a water bottle or umbrella, when you're sitting on the line. That it's a little different now.
Yeah, especially. And then when we went to restart, our gates were just kind of trash. But even before that, I mean, you try to use a rag, you try to use a brush, but dude, the grits are just caked with mud, and there's really nothing you can do with it. So, I mean, you just set your whole shot button and hope you get traction. I mean, for us, I don't think we really broke traction on the grates, and which is surprising with them being wet and muddy. But yeah, especially on Wednesday, the gates didn't get like picked up, so they were packed with dirt. Even under the gate, it's like you really just try to like move the dirt around, because you, like, as a rider, you can't really dig all that out without getting your gloves super dirty, and you don't really have time to take your gloves off and dig through the dirt and have to hold your bike yourself. So it's definitely different, but at the same time, it kind of adds that that little bit of focus, especially before the gate. It's like, all right, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and then the card goes up and it's time to go. So it's definitely different, but I mean, it's cool to be doing some different stuff right now.
Dark side.
All right, this is for Shane and Chase. You guys have been battling tight points, but now we're going to a little bit of a break. It's a short break, but a break nonetheless. Is this something you guys are ready for, or would you rather just keep racing?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we have a little bit of a break. It's not very much. It's only, I think, 10 days, something like that. So for me, it'll actually let me get back to my kind of normal-ish riding schedule. Ride a little bit, or ride some this upcoming week, and then yeah, get back in the race schedule next week. But I mean, we've been off for so long that taking a break right now doesn't really feel right. Like, we've only raced 3 races, so it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird being in Utah and not at home, and just kind of trying to keep yourself entertained. And yeah, it's gonna be different. And then having the West Coast guys here so close where you can't even go watch the race. But yeah, it's gonna be different. But I think everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah, it's really kind of like exciting because the West Coast guys are going to start back racing, but at the same time, it's not really long. So for me, kind of like Jason said earlier, like, there's not much time in between the races as it is. So this week we will get to ride a little bit during the week. We'll get to do some training and still stay on top of our recovery. But I'm really enjoying kind of this schedule and having to get these races knocked out. It's pretty wide open, but like every single race day that we've had since we've been here has been like completely different. We had like one really early morning, one really late at night, then one all over the place today. And so it's really exciting just to kind of be going with the flow. And it's like, all right, this is what we got, let's work with it. But we're ready right now. We'll be ready come next Wednesday, and we'll keep this thing going.
Awesome. Jason, you know, we obviously in the media, a lot's been made out of your parting ways with Alden for your reasons. You know, have you noticed a difference just personally, like, you know, maybe where you're a little more relaxed? Has anything really changed, you know, off the track, day of racing that's made it easier for you?
Basically, I do the same stuff, man. I ride my road bike, go to the gym, and ride my dirt bike. So nothing's changed except I don't go to his track anymore. That's about it.
Right on.
Last question, guys. Thanks again. Michael Antonovich.
Okay, this one is for any of the 450 guys. You're 3 races in. It's been a week of racing now. We still have a handful left to go. Has this been as difficult as you guys thought it would be? I know that there's been a lot of emphasis on recovery in these last few races, but has this been as physically taxing as you guys assumed?
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy because I guess if you're a little bit behind, you would want your weeks to be able to get better. But honestly, it's kind of nice kind of knocking them all out and getting them all done, because I mean, we're 3 rounds in and we've only been racing for a week. So I think it's nice, but also it could be a double-edged sword, you know. And as far as how tough it is, I think we are focused on recovery, but it's so close that it's easy to kind of keep your head in the game. You know, sometimes if you have a whole 6 days in between races, you can kind of get distracted or drive yourself a little crazy, especially if you're in the championship or whatever it is. So yeah, it's kind of been crazy, and I think it's all of our first time. So I kind of think seeing how it plays out, I think some people might like it and some people might not, and then you throw the elevation in there with it too. So it's pretty wild, but I don't know, I'm enjoying it so far. Nice place, at least we're in Salt Lake. It's beautiful here, so it's we could be in way worse places. So yeah.
Cooper and Eli, if you wanted to jump in on that one, just
all I gotta say is it's nice not getting on an airplane Sunday morning. That's been sweet.
Amen. Cooper.
Yeah, it's been a lot different, like you said. I mean, for me, I've really enjoyed it because my favorite part of the sport is racing. So, like, honestly, less practice, less risk during the week, and you just kind of have to bring it on race day every time. I mean, recovery is definitely more vital, especially at elevation and stuff. So that's been a little better, honestly, because you're not so worried about riding during the week or training during the week and trying to maintain. I feel like we did a good training block before it, and now it's just all about racing. So yeah, it's been cool, and it's the most money I've ever made in a week, so I'm pretty happy about that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and congratulations again on your podiums. And we'll see you in a few days. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.